When everything is going wrong, it actually means everything is going right. Most people don't understand that their internal stabilization system is tuned already to a specific identity in the present moment. You already have programmed a version of yourself already emotionally with your thoughts, your beliefs, your assumptions. You've already programmed an identity. That identity in the present moment has always been manifesting. It has manifested your current life. You have two parts of your brain. You have the conscious mind, and then you have the subconscious mind. And the subconscious is handling all the unconscious parts of yourself that you do without even realizing it. And the subconscious part of you is the part of your brain that is manifesting majority of your experience in reality. And so even though you want more, consciously, I want more love, more happiness, I want a better body, I want a better experience, I want a better life, your unconscious part of you is directing which part of those things that you actually get, depending on your self-worth, depending on your self-concept, depending on your identity in the present moment, aka your internal system of what you think you believe, what you think your worth is. And so most people don't realize is that they're already programmed. Already, you've been programming yourself. You've been programming yourself since the beginning. The world has programmed you since the beginning. Your environment has programmed you since the beginning. Your parents have programmed you since the beginning. Your friends have programmed you since the beginning. Your early onset relationships have programmed you since the beginning. You see, the subconscious mind was activated in a state of theta during the ages of 0 to 7. And during those early onset childhood years, that became the default identity for majority of people in their reality. And so even though they want to consciously be their own person, whatever you experience in your environment became a baseline for what you would call your identity already. And that is why you may consciously think, well, I don't want to end up just like my parents or your guardians or your environment. But you end up acting as if you were always that the entire time. Because the part of you that is unconscious is already programmed for a specific identity already in a specific internal system. And so even if you want more, the unconscious part of you is saying, I am already specifically stabilized for one specific experience, one specific outcome, one specific expectation, and I can only get that. And so you have to come to this realization that you already are routed in a specific identity in the present moment. And so if you want more, right, you want a bigger life, a better life. You want to manifest something opposite of what you're having. Then you truly need to understand what it means to sacrifice the old identity. The version of yourself that has been living this entire time cannot be the version of you that takes you to the next level. And it means that you literally have to face the parts of yourself that you've been running away from, that you're hiding from, that you're scared to face, that you're scared to look in the mirror, sit in the thoughts alone, in the room, just sitting down in a chair and just being with your head and facing the parts of yourself that you're scared of looking at to get to that next level. You see, the subconscious mind is extremely powerful. But once you learn how to program it, reality is yours. You can literally manifest anything in this third dimensional realm that you call Earth, that you call your human experience. You can manifest anything. But you have to understand how exactly you do the manifestation. The subconscious mind is only going to create an experience that has been normalized for you. And so if it's not normal for you to experience it, it's not going to happen. You're only getting what is normal for your identity. And so if it's normal for you to experience a lack of something because you've been experiencing it every day since the beginning, then that's what you're going to manifest. And so if you don't understand that in order to get the opposite, you literally have to concentrate the law of polarity, because it's the same energy, whether you're rich, poor, happy, sad, angry, unhappy. I don't know what the opposite of angry is. Calm. I don't know why that didn't hit me. You have to literally concentrate on being that version of you anyway. And it's not just the way that you think. It's not just thinking, oh, I gotta think positive. Oh, I really gotta just pretend to be happy. There's no such thing as just thinking positive. There's no such thing as trying to have a high frequency. The law of polarity. What goes up must go down. The law of rhythm, what goes up must go down. And so you can't be high all the time. You have to go down. The equilibrium. It has to go back to a baseline. It must equal itself out. There is going to be a rhythm. Nothing is ever still in this universe. So you're going to have good days and you're going to have bad days. That's point blank, period. But the problem is that you want more consciously, but your internal system is neglecting the wanting of it. And so you have to change who you are at a foundational level. You have to change who you are being at a foundational level. And so you have to face the parts of yourself that you're running away from. You have to do the things that you know you should be doing anyway. I want you to think about it and conceptualize the idea. If you've been programmed to be a specific way this entire time, and that program that's running unconsciously is what is manifesting your life, then why would that version of you want you to be more than what you are now? Because you've been feeding it. You've been safe here. You've been comfortable here. You might have been here for years of your life. And so if you want to change, wouldn't there naturally be resistance? Wouldn't you have doubt? Wouldn't you have anxiety? Wouldn't you procrastinate? Wouldn't you have fear? Wouldn't you feel all fucked up in your nervous system? Wouldn't you feel the anxiety and the fear and the nervousness in the actual agony of changing? Wouldn't you feel all that at once? Wouldn't it scare you? Doesn't that make sense? If change was that easy, then what would be the point of this human experience in this first place? If it was just going to be easy, there would literally be no point in being human. We're complex, intelligent creatures by nature, and we're here to feel and experience the wide ranges, law of rhythm, of human emotions, human experience, the human life. And it's like they say, whether they study metaphysics or not, if it was that easy, everyone would be there. If it was that easy, then everyone would be there. And so what I want to offer you is a solution to the problem in and of itself. Because if you're aware of the fact that it's going on, because again, it's a game of metacognition. You have to be aware of the fact that you are programmed. Because if you're not even aware of the fact that you're doing the thing that you don't want to do, right? The procrastination, the fear, the doubt, the anxiety. If you're not even aware of the fact that you're doing that thing, even though you don't want it, if you're not even aware of the fact that you're getting those thoughts and the feeling in your body, then you're not even at the level where you can be helped. You're not even at the level where you can even help yourself yet. Because again, most people are operating unconsciously from those identifications. And so the moment they get negative thoughts, they identify with the negative thought. They say, okay, well, I guess that's the only way it's going to go. And they allow that identification of those thoughts and those feelings to drive them to a specific reality where that's going to happen anyway. They identify with the wrong story. And we're so powerful, despite having free will, but because we've been programmed for certain expectations and assumptions, we don't even have the power to pull ourselves out of the hole that we dug ourselves in. That's how powerful we are. We're so powerful that we would rather stay where we're safe and comfortable, even if it means suffering. Even if it's the worst possible outcome ever, we would rather be there than to change. Because at least I'm comfortable here. At least I'm safe here. I don't want to be over there. It's not safe. It makes me uncomfortable and I'm afraid. Don't make me go over there. I'm afraid. That's how you're programmed. And I know you're programmed because I speak to you all the time. When I hop on sales calls with clients and they come to me so that I can remove the subconscious block that's affecting their life, mainly business owners. And I work with helping them make more money. So I'm focusing on that specific side of the subconscious block. What is blocking them from expanding in their business, right? When I hop on calls with them and I'm speaking to them, I have to guide them to making their own decision. I'm not going to force you to make a decision. You have to be the one that wants to change. I can't force you to change, because if I force you to change and you're not ready, you're going to be unsatisfied, and then I'm going to be unsatisfied because you're unsatisfied, and then nobody wins. You have to be the one that realizes that you have a problem and you want a solution for it to get fixed, and then we can move forward happily because then we're both ready. But you see, the only way that I can do that is if I separate you from the fear itself of wanting to change. You have to literally see the fact that it's fear that is stopping you from getting to that next level. Not you. You're not doing it. It's the fear that is already created inside of you, that you've been programmed from the beginning to feel and be fear. And so that fear is stopping you from getting to that next level anyway. And so I have to separate them from fear. And once they see that it's fear, not them, it's fear, then we can proceed forward, and then we continue the conversation, and then we come to a decision. Are you ready or are you not ready? But see, most people are not able to separate themselves from their identification on their own. They identify with those bad thoughts and those bad feelings anyway, even if they don't want to be that. And so the first step of healing yourself and going on the journey, on the road of receiving your manifestation, is awareness, is becoming aware of the fact that you are not your thought. You are not the feeling in your body. You are the one observing the thought and observing the feeling. You are awareness itself. You are pure consciousness in the form of a physical body, but you are the one experiencing and watching the life itself. You are not just the life being experienced. You are watching it happen. Because you have the ability to observe, not just experience, but to observe what is going on in your mind and in your body. As it says in the Hermetica, the two gifts bestowed mankind are mind and speech. And so you're operating on different facets structurally in layers. The spiritual realm, which is the awareness, the I am. The mental plane, which is your mind, where you have thoughts, assumptions, beliefs. And then the physical plane, which is where your body is at. You operate on physical layers. Not physical, but reality structured. Reality has layers that are structured. And so you're operating on different facets in your reality. And so if you understand that, right, then you have the awareness to perceive and comprehend what is going on in the present moment higher than majority of people. Because again, most people identify with what is going on in their present moment. They become that identification. And so if you cannot change, if you're not aware of the fact that you do not have to identify with that negative thought or feeling that is going on in the present moment, even if it causes you pain, literal pain, you don't have to identify with it. You don't have to create a narrative. You don't have to let it continue going down the negative rabbit hole. Once you understand that you don't have to identify with the old story anymore, now we can get to phase 2, which is the solution to your problem, and reprogram the unconscious part of you that is dictating your entire life. Because you have to remember, the subconscious mind can only be programmed in 2 ways. It can either be programmed through repetition, which is what I teach, identity. You have to create an identity in the present moment, because there is no past, there is no future. The past is past consciousness coming into the present moment, and the future is future consciousness coming into the present moment. And so essentially what you're doing is you're utilizing your awareness, your consciousness, to go into memories and bring those memories here for no reason. And when you're thinking about the future, visualizing the future, you're pulling a reality that you could experience and you're bringing that into the present moment. But if you're always in the future and never in the present, then you're never going to go into the reality of your dreams, because you're always thinking about what the future is going to be like, but the future is right now. And if you're always thinking about the past, you're never going to have the ability to create your desired reality, because you're too focused on what never even happened. Because the past is not happening anymore. The only thing that's happening is right now. And so if you keep identifying with the past, you're retelling yourself a story from your narrative, from your perspective, that is not even happening to you physically anymore. And that is the whole premise of The Power of Now, the book, is that you have to stay focused on the present now to create the life of your dreams. And so repetition is how you program the subconscious. You have to be the version of yourself who already has a desire. And it goes into the facet, right, of the truest definition of how manifestation truly is. And it's about giving yourself the desire to the point where you no longer need to see the external world change. Because you already are that person. You already have become that person. You've exhausted all effort in being that identity to the point where you're like, I detach. I'm good with or without. I am that person already. I don't need to see anything change out here. I'm that person. My life is not going to change. My life is not going to change when I become this person. People are not going to treat me differently. My relationship with money is not going to change. My relationship with myself is not going to change. I'm not going to wake up and start breakdancing when I get millions of dollars in my bank account. Why would I? I'm already in that reality right now. You have to normalize that experience, because anything you don't normalize, you're putting importance on. And you're saying, I'm not that yet. Because I'm looking at it like, whoa, I can't wait to get there one day. But the subconscious mind can only manifest what is normal for you. And so if being in lack is normal, because again, you have to look at your reality, what you have right now is what's normal. And so if the opposite of what you want, right, the reality where you actually want to be, and if it's completely opposite from the reality you're experiencing, that's not normal for you. That is not even clear in your experience of life. You're not even this close. And so you need to lower the importance by making that reality normal. And the only way to do that is start believing that you're experiencing that reality now, which means that you have to go on the journey of becoming that identity of the version of you who already has the desire anyway, whether or not that you see it, because you don't really have much of a choice, because you have to lower the importance. And the only way for you to do that is to experience it in the reality where you're not even close to having it yet. Because by doing that, you say, I don't care what the external world shows me. I am that person. And so when you get it, it's no surprise to you, because you're like, I've already been here. I've been here this entire time. You giving it to me doesn't mean anything. I've been that person. I am that person. I've been that person since the beginning. I am that I am. That is what I teach. That's how I teach manifestation. Identity in the present moment. And then the second way, emotion. Neville Goddard has techniques. Nero has techniques. I've studied a lot of visualization, meditation techniques of how to program the subconscious mind. And the best way to do it is to get into a relaxed state before you go to sleep, as you wake up in the morning, into the state of the wish fulfilled, as Neville Goddard says. And so what he recommends is you meditate and visualize yourself in that desired reality already but you experiencing it as normal. So it's not the moment when you get it. It's not the moment of you getting the reward. It's not the moment of you kissing the girl of your dreams. It's not the moment of you finally getting the millions of dollars. It's the moment after that. It's the moment of you waking up in bed, holding her hand, cuddling your girl. It's the moment where you're sitting on your desk already with the millions of dollars, just doing the work that you would do anyway. It's the after the moment. What would be normal for you to experience if you were already living in that desired reality? Would not be normal. Because again, if it's above you and you raise the importance, you're saying that this is not normal. So you have to lower the importance by creating that experience and make it normalized for the subconscious mind. And when it's normalized, the subconscious mind can then direct your life and get you onto that reality. And that's how you manifest it. And so those are the two ways to reprogram your subconscious to get you in the reality of your dreams. But it starts with the basis of you understanding that you need awareness of what is going on. You need to step outside of your reality. I speak with so many people in my school community where I teach manifestation, on my TikTok, my Instagram, my YouTube channel. I speak with so many people that are going through so much hardship. They're struggling. And it's because the world did not teach us our universal laws. It did not teach us how reality is layered. It did not teach us how powerful we were. And so they're not able to look outside of themselves with awareness and not identify with what they do not like in their reality. But they don't understand that when something physically shows up in your physical world, it's because you've been manifesting that already. The physical plane is the last domino to fall. Once something shows up physically, like this chain, it means that I've already been on the trajectory to manifest this thing anyway. It didn't just show up randomly. You manifested that. But as you can tell, the manifestation process doesn't show up physically like that. The physical world is slower. Awareness is instantaneous. The mental plane, instantaneous. But the physical world has a delay naturally. And so once something shows up physically, it's because you've been compounding that frequency, that identity in the present moment long enough for it to show up in your physical dimension. And that is where most people fail in the process, is that they're not able to stabilize and hold the identity long enough for it to manifest. They try the new tactics, they become aware of their problems, but then they start identifying with what they don't like because they fall into the illusion of the third dimensional realm and they get eaten away by what they don't like. But they don't understand that they've manifested this unconsciously and consciously in the parts of themselves that they have not unprogrammed or programmed. That they have not programmed yet. And so it's counterintuitive to get mad at the external world because you have to understand that I was the cause of this in the first place. The law of correspondence, as within, so without, as above, so below. And so you literally have to learn how to control your emotional state, your internal state, to not react to the third dimensional realm when it's not giving you what you don't like anyway. Because if you react to it, you're reinforcing the reality where you continue to exist in this unhappy place, because your emotion is transferring. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed, and emotion is energy. Emotion, you're transferring your energy to that entity that you're building. You're saying, I am still here. I still believe that this is real, even though that I know that this physical realm is malleable, because it's always changing, because we have free will and we have the free will to choose. That I'm going to stay here in this place because I truly believe that this experience that I'm facing in this present moment is realer than my awareness itself. And that is how most people get trapped into the illusion of the third dimensional realm, is they reinforce their identity with their emotion because they believe the external world is more real than the world they're creating internally. But that's because they don't understand their universal laws. That's because they don't understand what awareness is. And that's because they are not ready to change. They're still caught up in the illusion, the matrix, the system, is what I call it. It's not their fault. I mean, to tell you to not be able to not react to the external world is crazy, especially when something happens. The problem is not the reaction itself, it's what happens after the reaction. It's how you identify with the thing after the fact. If someone hits me in my face, I can't expect to not get angry. But it's what I do after that. If I beat him to the ground and I smash his face in, Now I've allowed that circumstance to completely change me, right? I've allowed the emotion to take me to the whole next level. You can't stop. You cannot stop the first reaction, but you can stop the narrative that you build on it. This always happens to me. I'm always unlucky. It's hard to find love. Money's hard to come by. This world is bad. The world is controlled by a bunch of evil pedophiles. You allow the narrative to take further control where you need to be. But you have to understand that it's your reality. It's your world. It's bound by your rules. It's bound by your narrative. It's bound by your I am that I am. Your identity in the present moment is what is manifesting. And so if you're not living in your desired reality, it's because of you. You can't expect the physical world to change. You have to be the one that changes. The world is waiting on you to change, not the other way around. You can't wait on the world because, again, the physical world is the last domino to fall. It's the slowest delay. It has a delay. And so if you wait on a delay, if you wait on an effect to change an effect, you're stuck in a loop, in a cycle of life that never gets solved. And even when you break past the plateau and you find the relationship or your money starts improving or you start to feel good about yourself, you go back to that normal baseline that you've been programmed to be this entire time because you never really changed self. And without changing self, reality never truly reorganizes around the reality you actually want to be in. And so you go back to that normal baseline that you've been this entire time because you never truly face the parts of yourself that you've been running away from unconsciously, that you know exist. But the only way to solve that problem, the only way to face the parts of yourself that you're running away from is awareness. You have to be able to read yourself. You have to be able to read reality. You have to be able to experience what happens in the third dimensional realm and ask yourself, why do I keep manifesting this? Why do I keep manifesting lack? Why do I keep manifesting not being good enough? Why do I keep manifesting not having love for myself? Why do I keep manifesting this thing? Why do these keep thoughts, these feelings, why do these things keep showing up? And then you associate them with things that you've experienced in your life already, subconscious associations, and then you're able to draw a link and say, that is why I go through this. That is why I don't love myself. That is why I fear relationships, because I experienced this thing, because I had that narrative, because I had that belief. And you understand that once you have awareness of the thing itself, it weakens. And now you have the ability to reprogram that because you're aware of it in itself. And so the key of this, of experience of itself, is awareness. If you leave anything with this video, it's the fact that you have to be aware of the fact that you are the one not experiencing life, but observing it. You're not just experiencing your life, you're the one observing your life. You're not the thought in your head, you're the one observing the thoughts in your head. Thoughts just magically show up in your head. You don't even think them all the time. They just, boop, thought, ice cream cone, girl with a big booty. Music video. My teacher from second grade. Be sitting there like, where are these thoughts coming from? The thoughts show up depending on what identity you've been compounding. And so if you have a negative identity, of course you're going to get negative thoughts. If you have a positive identity, of course you're going to get more positive thoughts. Whatever identity you've been compounding, you're going to get more thoughts aligned with that identity, because you have to think of your brain like a receiver. And your brain is like a receiver, it's like an antenna, and it's just receiving signals from the one mind. Because again, the first universal law is the universe is mentalism, the law of mentalism. And so we're all under this gigantic subconscious, superconscious mind. And so your mind is a receiver. And so depending on what you're tuned to, you're going to receive those thoughts anyway. So you're just getting a bunch of thoughts all day, coming in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. But people don't understand that you're not the thought. You're the one observing the thought. And it's the same with the feeling in your nervous system. You're not the one creating the feeling. You're the one observing the feeling. But then people get the feeling and they start identifying with the feeling. They say, I'm depressed. I'm sad. I have anxiety. I have fear. But you're not the one creating it. You're the one observing it. But you've been identifying it for so long that you think that you are the thing. You think that you are a negative person. You think that you do live in a negative reality. You think that you do have anxiety. You do have fear, but you don't. You're the one being able to observe the fact that it's happening to you. And that starts you on the journey, your spiritual journey. When you start to realize that you are awareness itself, pure awareness, the one observing reality in its totality. That's where it started for me. Like most people, you experience such a strong wave of emotional turbulence to the point where you have no choice but to look at your life from an outer perspective because you went through so much pain in the moment. And that pain was a driving force to make you look at life and sit back and say, there has to be more going on than this because it doesn't make sense the way it happened like that. So I assume majority of people that are spiritual, that have tapped into higher level of awareness, it started from a freak incident, losing someone that they love, emotional pain, physical pain. Some type of incident caused them to go on the journey for them to search for more meaning in their life, which brought them to the fact that they are aware of the fact that they're experiencing reality. And so that's where it starts. That's how you get on the journey of receiving everything that you want in this world, by understanding that you are pure awareness itself. And once you understand that you're pure awareness itself, that is when you can start implementing what I said earlier in the video, to start reprogramming yourself. Because again, it's the identity that you have in the present moment that is manifesting the unconscious part. And so you have to reprogram the part of you that's already programmed for a specific baseline. And you have to say that whatever you want is now going to be your new normal. This is going to be your new normal. But the only way for you to do that is to become aware of the fact that you are the one observing life, not just experiencing it. And once you do that, then you come into the realization that everything that you've experienced in life isn't random. And that there's no such thing as coincidences. And then you get into the idea, the concept that reality is like a system, like a graph, like a chart. And you'll start connecting the dots. And then you'll look at your life and you say, this was orchestrated by somebody. Somebody that knows me very, very, very well. That knows what I would respond to, knows how I would react, knows everything about me. And then you'll understand reality. But you don't have to do it alone. Click the link in my description. If you're a business owner, CEO, day trader, actor, artist, and you're stuck, hit the transmutation on the link below. If you're just getting started, if you don't even know where to start, click the school link below. And if you just purely want help, then write a comment below in my video and I will respond to you. But otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next video.